On the programme, the largest container ship in the UK fleet completes its maiden voyage.
We're absolutely delighted that a ship like this, such a brand new, huge vessel, is being entrusted to our flag.
Closing the skills gap, attracting a new seafaring generation. And how UK shipping is finding new competitive energy to take on the global challenge.
It's one of the greatest businesses that the UK has.
Hello and a very warm welcome to a maritime nation. I'm Natasha Kaplinsky. In spite of big changes in the way the world does business, UK shipping is still one of the most important contributors to our economy. A staggering 95% of our international trade is transported by sea, delivering vital food, medicines and other goods to industries, shops and homes. But first, it's the third largest ship in the world, carries 200,000 tonnes of goods and has the power of 900 cars. One of a new breed of super ships, the Kerguelen, has set a new benchmark in global shipping, proudly flying the British flag. Joanna Simpson was in Southampton to welcome her.
The largest container ship in the UK fleet is completing its maiden voyage, docking in Southampton. Named after a great explorer, the Kerguelen transports everything from iPads to Ferraris in 18,000 TEUs. It's the first of 6 new vessels which will be sailing in 2015. CMA CGM, one of the world's leading maritime container shipping companies, says this ship raises the benchmark in global shipping and has chosen to fly the UK flag.
We like a quality flag. We've got a very expensive ship carrying a lot of cargo, which is worth actually many times more than the ship is worth. So we need reliability, we need safety, and the UK flag has a very good reputation internationally. And we get good service. So it's one of the reasons why we put quite a few ships with the UK.
This ship is the first in a new fleet. It has the capacity for 18,000 containers. It's longer than 4 football pitches and is taller than the Empire State Building. But despite this, it has among the fastest transit times in the market and is even reducing its carbon emissions. It's sailing a prestigious transit route. The Kerguelen is deployed on the FAL 1, the French Asia line, which links Asia to Europe. The route provides a direct link from Central and South China to Northern Europe. CMA CGM says it gives European importers the fastest transit times in the market, stopping in Southampton and Hamburg on a fixed day each week. It takes 77 days to do a complete round trip. The crew is multicultural, led by the captain from Croatia. It has the largest proportion of personnel coming from the Philippines, who now make up around 40% of the maritime sector. As the crew is so large, there are more facilities on board, including a modest swimming pool, to help them exercise whilst at sea.
Normally, we are running about 27 crew members to run the ship. That means we are divided. Deck crew in engine crew and catering department. It is only 2 persons, but it is there.
To ensure a ship of this size maintains a good speed requires an advanced engine. So far it has reduced its carbon emissions compared to its predecessors by 10%. A quality vessel requires a quality flag, and the impact of choosing the UK fleet for prestige can't be underestimated. The Maritime Coastguard agency says this highlights to other companies that Britain is a preferred place to do business.
We know that the UK flag is a quality flag. In other words, it's seen worldwide as a symbol of high quality, high degrees of safety and very good standards of operating. So we're absolutely delighted that a ship like this, such a brand new, huge vessel, is being entrusted to our flag by CMA, the company. And so, more of them please, because it's very important that the UK flag has a decent size and weight, because, we want to carry influence. That's influence for positive safety at sea and for good operations, and bringing a brand new ship like this with such a good company is very positive for us.
The 18,000 containers will transport all manner of products and possessions around the world for many years to come. The UK Chamber of Shipping estimates that every person in the UK will purchase something brought in on this one container ship alone. CMA CGM says it transports 90% of international maritime trade, which is why it has taken such care to invest in its new fleet, and feels it's best represented by the UK flag.
Well, I'm delighted to say we're joined by Guy Platten, Chief Executive of the UK Chamber of Shipping. Guy, great to see you again. Thank you very much indeed for coming in and talking to us in the studio. As a country, we have a very great heritage, don't we, in terms of the shipping world, but there is increased competition. Why is the UK such a great place to do business?
Well, firstly, as you say, we've got a great heritage. We've got great infrastructure here. We've got a wealth of talent, a great maritime cluster. So you've got the ship owners and ship managers and law firms, accountancy firms, banks, all working closely together in that cluster, which makes us a great place to do business. However, other countries are starting to want to take that mantle from us. So we need to be very careful, and we need to ensure that we retain a great place to do our business.
The number of ships registering in the UK, though, is on the decline, isn't it? Why do you think that is?
Well, I form part of looking at the whole issue of the decline of the flag. The government commissioned a panel to have a look and to give them some recommendations as to how that can be declined. You're right, we've lost about a third of the ships under the UK flag in the past 5 years. And that's not just in real terms, it's in market share as well, because the world fleet has grown during that period, and we were actually losing. And we looked at it, the UK flag, the red ensign, is still a great brand. It's a badge of quality. People recognise that. However, ship owners increasingly want not just quality, but excellent customer service, responsive customer service. And they need that to go hand in hand with a great brand as well. So what we focused on within the advisory panel is looking at how that could be changed. So we do have all the various elements of what makes a great flag to come together. And our ambition is that the UK not only halts that decline, but starts to grow again, because we know inherently that a strong UK flag indicates a strong maritime cluster, and that's got to be a good thing for maritime businesses.
OK, let's look at the bigger picture now and the idea about potentially leaving the EU. What would that have as an impact on the industry?
It's difficult to tell at this stage until we see the detail, and the details seem to be very scant at the moment. One thing is for sure, we are a trading nation. Shipping is an international industry. Therefore, the UK would continue to trade, regardless of what happens as an outcome of the referendum. But what we really want to focus on now is how can we see how the renegotiation that the government is promising works, and how does that affect shipping? So that's really is our focus. So I think in or out of the EU, that's down the line a little bit. To us now, it's about what does a referendum going to look like in terms of the renegotiation package that's offered to the people. And
the EU as a single market, does that work?
I think that's where we have our issues with. We'd like to see the market really work. The single market in concept is brilliant, but we do believe there's some barriers still exist within the single market. There's perceptions of some cabotage still in that we want to be able to go and do our businesses in all the countries around Europe. We want custom barriers and areas like that to be looked at, so it's just as easy to ship goods by sea as it is by road or other means of transportation. So let's really focus on how the single market can be made better, can be made freer. That's, to me, a good thing. I mean, it's interesting that whereas the rest of the world has grown in terms of economies, in Europe that's stagnated somewhat. Is it because there's some problems with the single market? And I think another thing as well, which we have concerns about within an industry, is that the industry is an international one. It's regulated primarily through the International Maritime Organization. What we want is the EU to focus on making the single market work better, rather than trying to duplicate work in the IMO and potentially add cost to ship owners and businesses based here by perhaps over-regulating or gold-plating existing international regulations.
It sounds like you are a very busy man. Yeah. Thank you very much indeed for sharing your time with us today and your thoughts on the industry as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ensuring that the shipping industry has the right skills and infrastructure for the future is the subject of a government report released this autumn. The Maritime Growth Study is looking at our ports, regulations, security and safety. It also highlights the fact that the maritime sector underpins our economy and our way of life. Here's some background on the industry from our shipping correspondent, Joanna Simpson.
For centuries, the shipping industry has been a cornerstone of the UK economy, helping it grow. As an island, the waters around us are critical to our contact with the rest of the world, in both terms of trade and socially. A significant amount of produce, cars and other items manufactured in the British Isles are shipped abroad. 95% of the UK's imports and exports by volume are transported by sea. From the tip of the UK in Scotland, to the west of Wales, to the south of England, and across to the heart of the capital in London, the shipping industry sails along our major waterways and beyond, broadening the reach of the UK. Britain is regarded as the world's premier global maritime centre, according to the UK Chamber of Shipping. Each year, this sector directly contributes nearly £14 billion to the UK economy and supports more than 250,000 jobs. Now, new areas of growth need to be found to ensure its global reputation remains intact.
The direct contribution to the UK economy, when accounted for by gross value added, was £9.9 billion in 2013. Now, the direct effect is the effect of actually the operations of those companies who are directly operating within the UK. When you take into account the indirect and the induced effects, this multiplier effect then has the overall impact of increasing the value of the UK shipping and maritime services economy to £22.2 billion.
Ships and their cargoes have developed over recent years in terms of size, character and technology. The growth of the UK fleet has also been significant. It's now 3 times larger than in 2000. Britain's ferry industry is also reporting record passenger numbers of just over 39 million. The first maritime growth study is now underway to assess the state of the industry and spot opportunities. The government says it's assessing growth through trade and travel by encouraging commercial development by ports, ensuring effective regulation of vessels in UK waters, and working to improve maritime security and safety, including search and rescue capabilities. Underestimating the shipping UK's impact could have significant repercussions for the UK in the future. What are the consequences if this industry isn't supported correctly?
Well, the consequences are that the maritime sector dwindles and starts to wither on the vine. A large number of maritime sectoral industries, whether that be insurance, whether that be legal, whether that be banking, will simply just move to other countries. And we'll see the likes of Singapore, Hong Kong just grow very much at our expense. We'll see the UK flag continue to decline and possibly even more rapidly decline than it has done in the last 2 or 3 years.
Increasing the number of vessels registered in the UK is one way to help develop an internationally competitive maritime sector. With the volume of trade moved by sea expected to double in the next 20 years, it's key the UK isn't left behind. Some are claiming this is a once-in-a-generation opportunity that we can't let sail away.
The maritime industry is woven into the fabric of the UK economy and its institutions, supporting growth and providing employment. The contribution shipping makes is one of the country's greatest and most important industries.
The maritime industry is very important. It employs a very large number of people all around the UK. In London, we are very lucky to be in the heart of maritime business in the world because predominantly because of English law and Lloyd's, but also because of our banking system and because many of the insurers are located in London.
It's one of those very interesting areas where Britain actually has a leading role, and that I think is tremendously important. we suffer from the fact that it's a rather diffuse industry. We have the ship owning side, we have the port side, we have what we call professional business services. And all of these aspects are very, very busy. We've been working in the industry in recent years to speak with more of one voice. And I think this is a process which we will see continuing now, perhaps to embrace other areas of maritime and marine.
A huge amount of what we consume is imported, and a huge amount of what we make is exported. It's said that effectively 90 to 95% of what we buy has been sourced overseas. So shipping in the ports are vital, but not only that, but there's a very strong maritime tradition in the UK, and the UK, London particularly, is considered to be probably the preeminent maritime hub in the world.
Maritime safety is critical to the shipping industry, but when the unthinkable happens and there's an accident, the right procedures need to be at the ready for an instant response. Brookes V.Group is a maritime consultancy that specialises in technical advice and casualty investigation. John Gibson reports now from Liverpool.
Seatruck's power ferry will be out of action for at least 2 weeks after suffering an impact to its stern. But if the company's boss is looking relaxed, he's had to deal with much worse than this minor repair.
The Riverdance was sailing in fairly normal winter weather on the Irish Sea, a series of freaky waves, a big cargo shift, and the vessel went to 45 degrees and stayed there. Lost engine power and ended up drifting onto Blackpool Beach.
That must be your worst nightmare.
Absolutely. No matter how much planning we do, work on safety, things in shipping, just like in life, sometimes can go wrong.
When the Riverdance washed ashore in 2008, Brookes Bell investigated the incident, monitored the salvage and arranged for the wreck removal which followed. The global marine consultancy deals with accidents around the world, but this one was on the doorstep of its Liverpool office.
Forensic accident investigation, that's what we're really good at, that's our core business. But we're into all aspects of the life cycle of a ship. So we're involved in design, we get involved in a lot of shipbuilding disputes, out in Shanghai in particular. Everything to do with the operations of a ship.
The Brookes V.Group is a multidiscipline consultancy with the added advantage that many of its experts have a seafaring background.
I knew the ship, I'd been on the sister ship as master, so that made it a little bit easier. So we start off with the 3 basic core team, which is the master, the engineer and the naval architect. The engineer working on what plans we could do and how can we get it upright, will it refloat again, and then pull that resource together and advise the clients accordingly.
When refloating the Riverdance wasn't possible, the company organised the wreck removal. It also used the findings of its own investigation to help its owner learn lessons from the accident. John is based in Singapore, one of 3 of Brookes Bell's Asian offices, which gives the company global reach and further establishes it in the offshore and energy markets.
One is independence. We are wholly independent. It doesn't really matter who appoints us, we will report the facts and we will assist any tribunal, any court, any high court to understand the facts. So the independence is one side, and the other I would say is forensic. And I think those are the 2 areas that really set us apart from some of our rivals.
That forensic approach to investigation is underpinned by some of Brookes Bell's more specialist staff, including metallurgists. They get involved in a variety of onshore and offshore projects, everything from superstructures down to nuts and bolts.
Yeah, literally the nuts and bolts, or it could be something that's a bit more spectacular, such as the rudder falling off or the propeller falling off, anything where there's metal wear or degradation.
Brookes Bell also investigates machine failures and is often required to present its findings in court.
It's more or less like a murder scene. We document the situation photographically and in our notebooks, exactly as we see it, even before we remove anything.
It also works with the owners of ships throughout their entire life cycle, using advanced simulation and computer modelling to improve design and help prevent tragedy.
This gets done on, say, high-profile cases like Costa Concordia, where we did flooding simulations, and we also carry a lot of structural analysis now to help in wreck removals.
And by recruiting people with real maritime experience, Brookes is helping to develop the next generation of marine consultants, like former tanker captain Ivan Todorov.
All my knowledge that I have gained throughout these years at sea, I was able to transfer to the office and apply it from slightly different perspective.
Expertise Ivan and his colleagues will put into practice wherever the next incident takes them.
Many of us have fond memories, don't we, of school holidays where a trip on a ferry was a special part of the excitement. Stena is the name that generally comes to mind. It's one of the biggest ferry operators in the world and the largest privately owned shipping company. Lucy Siegle reports now from Holyhead on a world-beating maritime success story.
Welcome to the famous port of Holyhead, owned and operated by Stena Line, where I'm getting some insight into the scale and scope of Stena's UK operations.
Stena is a family-owned business. Started with Mr. Sten A. Olsson, hence the name Stena, in 1939.
Since those days, the company has grown into a major global player, a fact you can't fail to notice as the Stena Adventurer docks in Holyhead. This state-of-the-art ferry features 3.5 kilometres of lane space for freight and room for 1,500 passengers.
Ferries have a very old reputation, and I have to say Stena Line have one of the most magnificent products on the sea.
We also have other important business units in the UK. We have the offshore drilling, which head office is in Aberdeen, and we have a ship management company in Glasgow, which provides services, crewing, maintenance and repairs of our vessels of all types, not only ferries.
In fact, 1/3 of all Stena's activities are UK-based, and it's hard to overemphasise the importance of a Stena-run port like Holyhead.
For Stena Line, we're carrying 2.5 million freight units a year. And to put that into context, that would be a queue of freight that would stretch around the world 1,000 times.
Ports are the silent partner in the logistics chain. We're the cog that makes the whole link work, and that's the way it should be. We should be seamless from the logistics customer point of view. But it's key that these guys want service 24/7, and it's key that the port can deliver that in a cost-efficient manner. Over the last few years, Stena invested heavily across the Irish Sea. We made a large investment of nearly 80 million in a new port in Kerguelen. Behind us, you'll see yellow terminal tugmasters. And we've made an investment of £1 million in this port alone. And that investment gives us better efficiencies, lower pollution, and better delivery for our customers' products.
And much of that investment is in people. From a global workforce of 20,000 employees in the Stena Group worldwide, 1/3 of those are based in the UK, including approximately 6,000 seafarers and 1,500 onshore personnel.
And we make sure that at Stena Line, we empower our staff to go out there and look after the customer the way they believe they need to. They love their travelling at sea, they love working with us, and we love working with them.
Stena is also future-proofing its business by addressing sustainability.
We have a very interesting project in Stena where we have rebuilt one ferry for running on methanol instead of regular fuel, which reduces emissions tremendously. It's an interesting and fascinating technique and typical Stena project where the family, the owners, are prepared to put in a lot of resources in the future, not necessarily giving immediate profit, but building for the sustainable future.
As the UK tries to increase its competitiveness as a shipping nation, there's pressure for the industry to lower costs, but that isn't always easy. So increasingly, ship owners are looking to technical specialists for help with more efficient crewing and operations management. V.Ships has responded to industry needs with solutions for a diverse fleet of cargo-carrying vessels. Ed Barron reports.
The challenges facing modern commercial shipping are constantly changing and developing. Headlines across the world have shown the rescue and care of migrants at sea has become a huge problem in recent months. An estimated 1,200 commercial vessels were involved in search and rescues since the start of 2014. Last year, they saved around 40,000 people. V.Group manage over 1,100 vessels worldwide, and they've recognised the complex issues inherent in the migrant crisis.
We equip our people to face these present challenges. Take an example of the rescue of migrants and refugees at sea. It's a new challenge which we face. We make sure that we give the accurate and appropriate training to our crew where needed.
One by one, okay?
V.Group's training arm, Merrylees, are working with UK-based charity Human Rights at Sea on developing a new e-learning course to address the issue. With shipping companies increasingly expressing concern about their involvement in migrant rescues, this is just one example of how V.Ships technical specialists proactively respond to changing circumstances. V.Group delivers solutions which help owners optimise their assets and perform effectively in challenging environments. V.Ships manage vessels in a way that can be relied on, minimising risk and taking the worry away for customers by staying at the forefront of regulatory changes too.
Keeping ahead of the complex regulatory environment is a real challenge for ship owners. For example, the ratification of the Ballast Water Management Convention and the US Coastguard Final Rule means that vessels which discharge ballast water will need to be fitted with approved treatment systems. With over 70 different systems available, making a choice is complicated. V.Ships reduces the complexity for owners by helping them select the best system for their particular vessel and trading pattern.
The CSCL Mars, docked here in Felixstowe, is just one of the hundreds of vessels for which V.Ships recruit and train crew. And it's the people on board who make all the difference. With over 60 different nationalities employed, V.Ships places a strong focus on language and teamwork skills for its crew, as well as their expert technical knowledge.
I think that's good for especially cadets, because they can learn everything from our systems about navigation, about how to work, how to keep safety, etc. Our ship is clean, it's huge vessel, life is good, salary is good, everything good.
There's always pressure on the industry to maximise efficiency to boost the bottom line, and technical specialists can help budgets go further. V.Ships use condition monitoring to test the health of a vessel. By proactively performing checks while the vessel's in service, companies can avoid costly interruptions and delays.
Early detection of issues like excessive vibration can enable repairs to be made before you end up with expensive and potentially dangerous machine failure. Meeting deadlines is massively important in the shipping sector. It's very competitive, and delays by taking ships out of service can be costly. Condition monitoring helps ship owners keep an eye on the heartbeat of their ships.
Our promise is performance assured, and that's our commitment to provide the best possible service and deliver real value by looking after our clients' ships and people as if they are our own.
Whatever stormy waters and challenges ship owners may face in future, V.Group proactively responds to the industry's needs, making sure every crew member on board and every piece of preparation and training performed is delivered to an exacting standard.
Coming up on A Maritime Nation, the next seafaring generation. How do we attract young people and what skills do they need?
The shipping industry has been selected as one of the trailblazers for the new apprenticeship schemes that will come in 2015.
What does it take to become a top-level seafaring cadet? And the sounds of shipbuilding return to the Isle of Wight. Finding bright new talent and developing maritime skills is one of the most important factors in ensuring shipping has a strong global future. The Fleetwood Nautical Campus of Blackpool and the Fylde College has met the challenge with outstanding results and an array of accolades and awards. We sent Nick Wallis to see what it takes to be a top-level cadet.
If you want to learn the art of seafaring, this place is one of the best in the world. And I'm here to find out why. The Fleetwood Nautical Campus is doing something right. It trains over 6,000 offshore students a year and has up to 500 maritime students on programme at any given time. Over the last 8 years, Fleetwood Nautical Campus has produced 7 of the 8 Maritime and Coastguard Agency Cadets of the Year. Karley Smith is one of them.
Good morning, Nick. Welcome to Fleetwood Nautical Campus. Fleetwood is very unique in that it's like being part of a big family whilst you do work here. So I was a cadet here in 2006, became part of the team as it is then, and I'm now still here as a member of staff because once you've been here once, you want to return. That's the kind of environment it is. Everybody's very professional, everybody's friendly, and everybody's here to help. The cadets learn not only about managing a bridge or managing an engine room, but they also learn how to prepare for emergency situations when they're on board a ship.
This is the infamous training tank, used for the sea survival sessions at the Fleetwood Nautical Campus. Cadets are drilled in sea survival techniques, including learning how to inflate and get into a life raft.
It's a prerequisite, it's one of the mandatory courses they have to do because anybody, if they do work at sea, has the potential that they might end up in the water. In the event that something does go wrong, we have to give them the best chance of survival that we can.
Emergency training also takes place in open water at the nearby River Wire training platform. Here the cadets are learning how to control modern lifeboats. Back at the college campus, cadets are being put through their paces in the engine room simulator.
This is an absolutely fantastic facility, really, really good, and all the cadets say it's one of the highlights of their studentships here. And as you can see, it's much more interactive, so they can actually go in there, look at the systems and think about how they might manage the engine room when they get onto their ships.
Where do you think the training that you're receiving here will take you in your career?
Hopefully this training that I'm receiving will take me right the way up to the top of the ladder, which would be chief engineer on board any ship.
To anyone thinking of coming here, I'd say get stuck in, don't think twice about it. The facilities are top notch, the education's really good, yeah, it's really good.
And unlike a real ship, all we have to do to get from the engine room to the bridge is walk along the corridor.
This is Fleetwood Nautical Campus's state-of-the-art full-mission ship simulator, which gives cadets the experience of sailing into almost any port in the world at any time of day and in any conditions. It's also an appropriate place to meet the head of campus.
One of the things which we always put top of our list is that in addition to the academic qualifications which the cadets come out with, we realise one of our prime jobs is to prepare them for life at sea. We need to ensure that when that cadet steps on his first ship or when the officer of the watch goes on the bridge or down below for his first watch, he's prepared for that moment.
What do you need from the shipping industry in order to do your job properly?
We need to continue the funding. We need to guarantee funding is secured for the continued training of British seafarers. Essentially, that's the most important thing. We need that confidence in industry to ensure that we put out premium quality, top-rate British officers into industry. There's been just over £10 million invested in the campus within the last 3 or 4 years with this refurbishment, and it's essential that we do keep at the cutting edge of technology with the bridge simulator and the engine room simulator, because that's what the cadets and the officers of the watch will experience when they're at sea.
Assessed as outstanding by Ofsted and twice commended by the Quality Assurance Agency, Fleetwood Nautical Campus has the optimum resources in place to equip all its cadets with the skills they need for a successful maritime career.
The shipping industry is blazing the way for new apprenticeship schemes. At a recent UK Chamber of Shipping event, we asked industry leaders about employment opportunities and why the Merchant Navy is considered to be offering more than just a job.
The maritime industry is somewhat hidden. There is no one organisation that is a huge employer. But when you aggregate all the various jobs that are related to sea transport, ports, and then the connections into the inland, we're talking at least 500,000 people earn their livelihood from shipping and shipping goods.
It's a tremendous industry, and it's one of the very few where you can go in the shop floor and there's nothing lower than a galley boy. He's even lower than the ship's cat, and work your way up and then come ashore, and there's so many opportunities ashore for people who have practical experience of being at sea.
One day I aspired to be a captain, so gained my Master in Limited certificate competency,
And also not just being at sea as well. Obviously, the UK is a huge maritime nation, so London is almost, the shipping capital of the world. So there's so many opportunities ashore. So one day maybe I'll move into the city. I mean, you have shipbroking, maritime law, insurance, just to name but a few. So opportunities are limitless, essentially.
At the moment we're working on the apprenticeship trailblazer, and the shipping industry has been selected as one of the trailblazers for the new apprenticeship schemes that will come in 2015. So we're really trying to get in at an early level with the young people to explain to them that instead of looking for a job at a young age, they should look for a career, and that's something that the Merchant Navy can offer, is a career for life rather than the old-fashioned term of a job for life. You can really have a career in the Merchant Navy. Start at 17 as an apprentice and you could be a captain in 10 to 15 years.
Recent statistics show that the current shortfall of seafarers is set to worsen. One company addressing this is Northern Marine Group, part of the Stena organisation. Northern Marine is actively encouraging the next generation of officer cadets with varied career opportunities and high-quality training. Reporter Robin Ross went to Glasgow to find out more.
Glasgow was once the world's centre for shipbuilding. Times may have changed, but the legacy lives on. Here in Clydebank, that rich history has helped to make Northern Marine Group a centre of excellence in ship management services, providing seafarers to a diverse fleet of vessels around the world. The company is part of the Stena Group and has several offices at strategic locations across the globe.
Northern Marine operates a huge variety of ships, from oil tankers of all types, gas carriers of all types, freight and passenger ferries.
Stena-owned Northern Marine employs 8,000 seafarers and 500 shore-based staff, servicing many international clients. A recent report found that the shipping industry will require an extra 42,500 officers alone by the end of 2019 to cope with growth in international trade. Northern Marine is one of the largest investors in marine training. It has 250 cadets from all over the world at any given time. This state-of-the-art training centre is used in partnership with Chevron to develop future seafarers.
Bridge, hello.
It's a 3-year programme. It doesn't matter whether they're a school leaver or an A-level leaver. It is dependent on the route they go down, whether it's engineering or deck. It is a sandwich course, so it involves time as academic in the classroom, both then at sea and also time within our facilities, our simulation facilities ashore.
Stephen Lee and Katie Van have just finished their courses.
I feel very good about the future. I mean, throughout the college phase, they have been contacting you, making sure everything's okay, make sure you're all doing well in the academic side of it, and also when you're at sea as well. So it's quite good. They've always kind of kept in close contact.
I'll go back to sea hopefully in a few months as a third officer and carry on up the ranks to chief officer at least, hopefully captain one day.
So you want to be captain?
Yeah, one day.
And do you think that's achievable?
Yeah, I hope so.
As a company, on behalf of our clients and for Stena, we spend around about $25 million a year in training these young individuals and individuals to grow through their careers. So it's not just on the basis of being a cadet, that is day one. These individuals will need constant training throughout their career to get to the level of captain and chief engineer.
These training facilities are as good as you'll find anywhere in the world, and it reflects the investment that is taking place here in Glasgow and Clydebank to enable us to have a sustainable supply of first quality officers for the future.
Stena was established in 1939 and is still family run. Its values are upheld by Northern Marine.
We have a very high retention rate. It is around 92% at the moment, which is high for the industry, and I believe that is down to the way that we train individuals and the values that we hold as an organisation.
Good afternoon, Captain. It's Liam Dodds calling regarding your upcoming port call in Spain.
Some return ashore and use their experience to manage the ships from offices here in Glasgow and around the world.
The marine industry is very highly regulated, therefore you need very good quality people, both ashore and at sea.
The amount of cadets produced each year may be a drop in the ocean compared to those needed, but Northern Marine believe they're investing in the long term.
It's important to the company so that we can retain these individuals for our future growth. We are becoming more and more innovative, and therefore the skill set we need is becoming more and more complex. We bring them in from day one, and we can build on that and we can grow on that, and therefore keep the company sustainable for the future.
Grandfather and uncle were chief engineers at sea, so...
So you're going to be one?
Yeah, hopefully, if all goes to plan in the end.
The UK was once a world leader in shipbuilding, but global competition closed yards and destroyed jobs. But now Red Funnel Group, the original ferry operator to the Isle of Wight, is helping to bring the building of high-speed passenger catamarans back to the UK. Nina Warhurst reports on the revival of an age-old industry.
Welcome to the Isle of Wight, home to 140,000 people and many more visitors, and all of them travel by ferry. 40% of that market belongs to Red Funnel. Last year they transported more than 3.3 million passengers. And having up to 450 members of staff makes it one of the island's biggest employers.
It is very cool. Most of all, I love that every day is different. You'd think that going back and to between Southampton and the Isle of Wight would get boring after a while, but it doesn't. It's such a busy waterway. There's much traffic to dodge, yachts. No day's the same, really.
Red Funnel have 3 vehicle ferries, Red Osprey, Red Falcon and Red Eagle, as well as 3 fast ferries for passengers, Red Jets 3, 4 and 5. The island has a rich history of shipbuilding dating back to 1623. But as the industry nationwide went into decline, in 1999 the last large passenger vessel was built on the island. That is, until now.
Just a few weeks ago we announced that we were going to have a new Red Jet high-speed catamaran ferry built. We're going to have it built here on the Isle of Wight. And that followed a long process of looking all around the world at all of the shipyards that build that kind of vessel. But ultimately we came to the conclusion that the answer was actually right on our doorstep.
Shamara Refit was chosen to build the state-of-the-art catamaran because of its innovative business plan, but also because they're based at the port in East Cowes, which means a £6 million injection into the local economy.
Now, most of the component parts are cut out in Southampton and sent over, and these numbers act as a guide for how it all pieces together to form the structure. Now, at the moment, there are 18 members of staff working here, including 2 apprentices, as well as 6 support staff. But as we head into the winter, there'll be upwards of 60 employees, and almost all of them are recruited locally.
What does it mean to you and what does it mean to islanders that it is built here and it will be servicing these communities?
Well, I think the logo that we developed between Red Funnel and us and sums it all up really. It's for the island, by the island, on the island. I think, they'll be able to say for the next 20 years, I built that, and the little kids who say my daddy built that, and they should be proud of it. So I think it's great.
That means a lot to people, doesn't it?
I think it does. Yeah, we can put a Union Jack on the side of it and say made in Great Britain.
For young people on the island, jobs can be hard to find, so being an apprentice on Red Jet 6 is a golden opportunity.
Well, basically, been putting together some of the frames, been doing the fuel tank, and just, learning about building the whole boat, really. It's been good.
What do you think it will feel like when Red Jet 6 sets sail in the summer of 2016 and you can look at it and go, I was a part of that?
Yeah, that'll be a good moment, really, because I've been using it quite often. People I know have been using it, and you can just say, I built that. So, be proud, really.
One of the main aims of building Red Jet 6 at home is to make communities across the island feel like they're a part of it. Here at the Isle of Wight Studio School, pupils have been invited to help critique and design the developments of the vessel.
It's really important, I think, that local people, local children, understand and own the challenges of such a build. They will understand how the manufacturing systems work, the challenges that Red Funnel face.
Red Funnel hope that Red Jet 6 won't just bring communities here closer together, but also act as an inspiration for homegrown industry across Great Britain.
One of the biggest problems facing the maritime sector is the global shortage of seafarers. But careers at sea are attracting the attention of a new generation. UK maritime colleges are some of the best in the world, offering rewarding careers that open up a world of opportunity. Joanna Simpson has more.
A life on the ocean wave beckons for these students as the numbers of people going into the maritime sector is increasing. With more than 700,000 16 to 24-year-olds currently unemployed, this is one industry that is creating jobs. Those who've experienced it say a life at sea is rewarding, exciting and challenging. Fenna Boyle did just that. She left school at 16 and having worked her way up to become a navigator, she's now back on shore helping future seafarers find the right role for them.
You can go in as an officer, you can go into rating, you can work in hospitality. There are so many shoreside roles you could get into with the transferable skills you learn from being an officer. The list is endless.
There is currently a global shortage of seafarers. The Department of Transport's annual statistics estimate that in 2014 nearly 23,000 UK seafarers were active at sea. There were 300 more officers. That's the first annual increase since 2010. Many are hoping it's a trend that will continue, as they say the UK is uniquely placed to fill the gap. The UK Chamber of Shipping states Britain has world-class maritime colleges and training institutions. Its reputation for providing highly skilled seafarers comes at a price. Currently, nearly 2,000 officer cadets are in training. That's the second highest level for more than a decade. The plan is to broaden the options for people going in as ratings as well as officers. The government says it's assisting seafarer training through the Support for Maritime Training scheme known as SMART. This now covers just over a third of the cost of training a new seafarer. In 1998, it was half the cost, with shipping companies left to pick up the rest.
It's not an expensive course for the individual. For the shipping companies, clearly there is a considerable expense, but they know that in recruiting and providing the training for UK officers, they are securing the future of excellent officers for themselves and for the international shipping industry.
Currently, more than 250,000 people work in the shipping industry in the UK. Whether it's on land or at sea, the financial rewards are competitive. But this is the second most expensive country in the world to train seafarers. Some now say that as many people continue into shore-based maritime careers, it's unfair for shipping companies to shoulder the majority of training costs and want more government help. The government has increased SMART funding from £12 million to £15 million in 2015. Industry leaders warn we must continue to create more jobs as demand for skilled seafarers worldwide is only expected to increase. Those trained here should be retained to strengthen the sector within the UK.
Coming up on the programme, a makeover for the Port of Dover. A UK-based technology firm helps shipping companies check out who they're really dealing with. And the changing landscape for shipping insurance. British ports are crucial to the UK economy, with 95% of our international trade travelling by sea. So it's critical that port development keeps pace with market growth. Sharon Thomas reports from the White Cliffs on how one of our iconic ports, the Port of Dover, is changing with the times.
Welcome to the busiest ferry port in Europe. Here at the Port of Dover, they handle more than 13 million passengers and 5 million vehicles a year, as well as supporting 22,000 jobs. It's the shortest sea crossing to Europe and a vital trade route for the UK. And now there are exciting plans for major expansion to meet demand for future growth. There's been a port here since Roman times. Dover's unique location and world-class operations enable it to handle more than £100 billion worth of trade every year. They're now investing in a £200 million project that will transform the port and deliver increased capacity for the long term.
By any measure, Dover's
the busiest port in the UK, whether we look at that in terms of shipping movements or an equivalent number of passengers handled. We're at the forefront of UK trade, handling £100 billion worth of freight through Dover, and we're putting ourselves in a position to create a new cargo terminal that's going to create many, many more jobs and really reinforce our position in the UK.
The Dover Western Docks Revival project is a 5-year development that will transform cargo operations. It will also lead to a more efficient ferry operation, as well as creating a vibrant new waterfront and 600 new jobs.
The UK economy as a whole will benefit immensely from this particular project. It's uniquely placed strategically, so what that will give us is the benefit of a long-term legacy type project, which will stand in good stead for the future of both UK and the local Dover economy.
Ferry operators work seamlessly with the port to ensure an efficient service for passengers and their vehicles. P&O operate 58 sailings a day in and out of Dover.
There are hundreds of thousands of firms whose supply chains are dependent on cross-channel travel. We carry 6,000 units of freight across the channel every single day. Every year, the Port of Dover carries around 2.5 million lorries.
The harbour master's job is to ensure the safe passage of vessels in and out of the port. Recently, this has included bigger cruise ships.
A harbour master is critical within the port. We have ships moving in and out 24 hours a day, cargo vessels, cruise vessels. We've got traffic on the roads moving in and out of the port, and we're trying to keep everything moving as safely and as swiftly as possible.
I am responsible for the safe and efficient movement of up to 120 ferries in and out of Dover a day, a combined figure of 300 cruise and cargo visits. And intermingled in all of that is the leisure craft.
We ensure that all the traffic gets to the right place in the lanes, and we deal with all the operators that's necessary to keep this port running.
The port is now looking to the future and how it can deliver for Dover and the nation.
We're still committed to being the best port in the world for the benefit of our customers and community, but I'd also say we're a fabulous place that's about to create some real sustainable regeneration.
The Port of Dover, a modern international gateway, but steeped in history, looking forward to the next exciting chapter.
The growth of our maritime business is closely linked to our attractiveness as an international business centre. Industry leaders are encouraging government and the private sector to do their part in protecting the future. Let's hear from them now.
It's essential that the UK, not just London, but other cities in the UK, are considered to be friendly to international business. So, I mean, clearly that relates to the ability from people from overseas to work in the UK. It relates to the ability in terms of the tax regime. The UK is a very attractive place, as we know from the number of EU people that come to live in this country. And that's its attractiveness. It's a magnet for people from all over the world. And we just need to make sure that in terms of looking after our own country's interests, that we don't put those people at a disadvantage.
The UK government has set up a study into shipping called the Growth Study, which is underway now. And this is a very enlightened approach by the government, because it would be easy for them to say, it's none of our business, you'll just have to fall in line with everyone else. But they know in shipping, they have a tremendous asset here, because let's face it, they didn't really do anything to set it up. It's come here historically because of the dominance the UK had in trade in the 18th century, and it's just stayed. And I think they've worked out, if I can be so presumptuous to say they've worked it out now, they probably worked it out a long time ago. It's actually a fantastic story. It's one of the greatest businesses that the UK has.
Global shipping companies and their financial backers can sometimes find themselves in dangerous waters, unwittingly aiding money laundering or terrorist financing. Knowing who you're trading with and what you're involved in is essential. Polestar is helping the industry to navigate the risks with its innovative technology and software solutions. Julie McDonald has more.
Shipping is big business for UK PLC, and much of the trade associated with this £32 billion industry flows through here in the City of London. But the complex geopolitical situation and resulting sanctions mean that maritime trade faces big challenges.
Sanctions are probably the most complex and fast-changing they've ever been. Businesses certainly have fallen foul of the sanctions, and these are very onerous restrictions that are imposed, and the penalties that can be imposed as a result are very serious. I mean, certainly if you put yourselves in the shoes of a director of a company which had breached the sanctions, he'd be concerned about the reputational issues first and foremost, the impact on the business and whether counterparties would continue trading with them, likewise whether they find themselves on the front page of the paper.
For big financial institutions, finding a way to keep on top of this ever-changing sanctions landscape is crucial. Proving who and where you're trading to prevent the risk of money laundering and terrorist financing is forcing companies to innovate. And sanctions expert Ian Stewart from King's College London believes industry needs a bolder strategy to deal with ever-changing regulation.
When we think about sanctions compliance in industry, in the industrial sectors, I think there has to be a common approach to all of them, so therefore we're talking about having a common compliance system. The sheer quantity of different assets that are being moved around there creates a fundamental challenge with regards to the volume of information that we have to deal with.
Shipping software company Polestar have developed Purple Track, a ship-based security tool which helps financial institutions and governments to comply with sanctions by screening vessels and their owners and creating a paper trail that keeps a dedicated record of their decision-making. Michael Jankowski is the company's chairman.
There are three modules: there's a screening, a tracking and a reporting. It can't be tampered with at any point in time. So because of that, it's totally transparent, it's verifiable.
Every ship over 100 gross tons will be in this database.
Polestar's Charles Ike showed me how this simple tool is saving financial institutions and governments time and money.
Over here you get the full details of the ship and the ownership and management, which is the most important bit. These are the entities that we actually check against the sanctions list. Okay. You've got the overall status, critical, right at the top. So a critical alert means that the ship has actually been associated to a sanctioned entity or is on a sanctions list. And the idea is that individuals are able to make quick decisions on whether or not they can transact.
Just how vital is this software?
The amount of time that people have had to spend on compliance is enormous. And when you don't have technology helping you, this type of activity, which takes us, we do it in 30 seconds. It would take them a day, 2 days. And I had one trader who told me, he said, "You've given me my life back." Not only are we adding a layer of speeding up the process, but we're actually adding a layer of confidence in the results.
For Robert Bittard and Jean-Pierre Wandler from UBS Bank, being able to show that they're complying with sanctions and regulations is vital at every step.
It was clear for us that the expansion of the franchise has to be accompanied with stronger means of controls. As many of the key risk areas in the CTF business relate to sanctions, embargo, fraud, etc., we felt that it was important to professionalize even more and at the same time to bring in a dedicated tools for our teams.
And Purple Track uses big data to make sure its users don't fall foul of regulations. It also uses 2 types of ship tracking, adding another layer of confidence for UBS Bank.
We can make sure we as a bank and our clients comply with the latest sanctions and embargoes country list. And also for us as a bank, we can follow the voyage of a given vessel and tie it back to the information provided by the client. And this is important because we base our financing decisions on that information.
Polestar's powerful and innovative software is allowing banks and trade finance to flourish in increasingly difficult times.
Marine insurance plays a vital role in supporting international shipping and global commerce. However, the commercial challenges facing the shipping industry are changing the landscape of the insurance market. Sue Saville reports now on how worldwide insurer DGS Marine Group is responding to these changes.
Shipping has been particularly hard hit by the global economic downturn. The supply of vessels now outstrips demand. Ship owners must tighten their belts if they're to survive. Those who've weathered downturns before, like Foresight Limited, a 30-year-old shipping company, say that finding ways to cut and control operational costs is key to staying in business.
Many ship owners have gone bankrupt. It's as serious as that. At the moment, the oil prices have crashed, so as a consequence of which there is the need for transportation has become less. So the rates keep falling, competition prevails. Certain things are fixed, but if there is a chance to have your insurance, which is absolutely required, for a better cost, it helps a lot.
To address this, a leading marine insurance underwriter, DGS Marine, has focused on providing fixed premiums for protection and indemnity (P&I) insurance, rather than the mutual club model, which leaves members liable for claims from the wider group.
Ship owners were approaching us to find a tailor-made product that could suit them at a cost that they can afford. It depends on the particulars of what the owner is looking for, and also his trading area where he is focusing his main business on. We are able to tailor-made our products to suit their requirements. So if for 6 months of the year if he's trading globally, then we can factor that in. If he then, the end of the other 6 months, he's only trading between the Middle East and the Far East, again we can factor that into the product as well. The response time of 24 hours is very appreciative in the sense that whether it's a technical issue, whether it's an underwriting issue, whether it's a claims issue, they know that if they have sent an inquiry on the Friday or at any time, they get a response within 24 hours.
Following the downturn, demand for fixed premium insurance has risen. Before 2008, the weighted average of vessel earnings was over $28,000 a day. Now it's fallen to less than $12,000 a day. Fixed premium P&I insurance has grown from around 3% of the market share 5 years ago to some 8% now. In the competitive business of adding value for customers, this team prides itself on speaking the same language as their clients, many being seafarers themselves.
We are one of the few companies as a fixed premium P&I club. We are with a good amount of expertise, which comes from ex-master mariners, lawyers that have been involved in this business for the last, veterans actually of the P&I world, that they are with us. Competent lawyers and handlers of claim.
London is at the heart of the shipping insurance industry, and it's from this capital that DGS Marine coordinates its global network of services to a seafaring industry with changing economic and insurance needs.
DGS, through its strategic growth, has opened in the last 5 years 10 offices worldwide, which is taking into account our clients' locations and also DGS's strategic planning in being closer to their clients to be available to them within the time zone, and also allowing them to be able to contact us should they have any problems 24/7, 365 days of the year, which I think is very important in this fast-paced shipping business that we're in.
Getting the right people on the case quickly is vital to the client and insurer, according to one independent surveyor who recalled a major incident handled by DGS Marine after a ship hit an oil rig near Doha.
And the speed of response was tremendous. That professional understanding and connect was something that stood out in my view, which I would say sticks in my mind straight away. I was the principal surveyor, and I can tell you from memory, there are far and few such claims that have gone fantastically smooth, and the client was delighted.
Finding new ways to serve the client and control costs may mean the difference between a business sinking or staying afloat in these stormy economic times.
We focus on technology and sustainability as a maritime nation continues. The smart ships of the future take shape in Southampton.
The best way to predict the future is to create it.
After more than 2 centuries, ship navigation goes digital. And a British-developed hull coating designed to make shipping more green. With global sea trade expected to double in the near future, researchers are working on new designs and technologies to create the smart ships of the future. Lloyd's Register has established a global technology centre in Southampton, where our reporter found that cleaner, greener and safer vessels are taking shape.
Southampton is one of Britain's biggest ports and a centre for maritime research and development. And it's here that Lloyd's Register has chosen as the home for its new Global Technology Centre to support the work being done to develop new concepts and new technologies for our shipping industry.
It's been said before that the best way to predict the future is to create it. And this is the philosophy being used by Lloyd's Register at the Global Technology Centre. And what it means is being at the forefront of innovation, making sure that we're creating the most innovative, the greenest and the safest ships, which will be the future of shipping.
This huge embroidery on the wall of the centre reflects the proud past and the future ambition of Lloyd's Register. It started in London as the world's first classification society. Now on the same campus with the University of Southampton and the city's Marine and Maritime Institute, it aims to support today's industry to make the best commercial decisions based on the best technical insight.
This is the largest business and university partnership in Britain and maybe one of the largest in the world, certainly the biggest in shipping. I think by being here and being able to work with the university, with the broader marine and maritime cluster, we're uniquely placed to help shape the future of shipping to effectively serve world trade.
What's the heading angle for this one?
And as well as modelling using the latest hydrodynamics techniques, access to this towing tank on site and others around the world allows experts to analyse the structural strength and fatigue of the newest large ship designs.
The modern container ships are now up to 400 metres in length, potentially getting bigger, and we have to have ways to validate our software. We can run specially segmented models in tanks like this, so the models actually bend as they go through the waves, and we can measure the strains on the backbone of these, and you can use that to calibrate against our analyses again. So, very important.
Another project is researching the potential of adaptive materials and structures for ships. It's an example of partnership working, where the Global Technology Centre, together with manufacturers, designers and operators, develop market-driven designs that are future-proofed and safe.
The aim of this project is by changing different components of the ship, ranging from the structure to the material selection, we'll be able to design a ship that could adapt to a changing environment. So it could be environmental conditions, it could be physical business needs, so that therefore could bring ultimately benefit to the industry and the general public.
Shipping is not as conservative as some people may think it is. Actually, it does really move ahead, but in a bit of a silent mode. The excitement comes in with the task, the challenge for everybody to make sure that we can make sure that technology is adopted on time when the clients want it, and when that happens, it is safe.
Just like the pioneers in 1760, when Lloyd's Register was first established, creative thinking, commitment and ambition are helping the industry to move forward with new and improved technologies to meet the ever-increasing demands on shipping in the years to come.
For more than 200 years, mariners have relied on the United Kingdom Hydrographic Office to provide Admiralty charts and publications to keep them safe at sea. Well, now the shipping industry is embracing the digital revolution, which has transformed the way that UKHO provides maritime information to global shipping and defence organisations. Our reporter has more.
With a world-class reputation, the UKHO supports maritime decision-making across the globe.
We take data from around the world, hydrographic data, geospatial data, and we use that to make products and services that inform decision-making. So we support people that are making decisions in shipping, protecting the environment, and of course defence.
We have a huge amount of data coming into us from our global contacts on a daily basis. So on a 24/7 timeline, we have a team of experts, subject matter experts, who are looking at that data, analysing that data, determining whether it needs to go out to the mariner instantly or it can wait for a new edition of a chart or to be issued in a week's time. But our fundamental point is to make sure that that data, when it comes into us, is transferred, put out to the mariner, and making sure that the mariner is kept safe at sea.
The UKHO's Admiralty products are world-renowned. They're used by 90% of ships that trade internationally.
We offer a wide range of products and the most comprehensive geographical coverage available on the market. We have over 3,500 standard nautical charts in our global series, 14,000 ENCs and over 250 publications. And they help the mariner satisfy legal requirements around the carriage of nautical charts and publications.
While its reputation dates back over 220 years, the UKHO has been at the forefront of the digital transition.
You've gone from a situation where somebody was taking a single sounding with a lead line, and now they're using multi-beam sonar, which is creating millions of points of data over a certain given area. Just think about that and how that might translate across all of the data that we're getting in. Using modern technology isn't optional. Big data technology, data modelling, software analysis, software development, those are the tools that actually allow us to deal with that volume of data and continue to provide the products and services that we do.
The UKHO listens to the needs of the maritime community. It's this collaboration, in combination with the depth and breadth of its marine geospatial data, which the UKHO handles, that has enabled it to innovate and bring new products to market.
One of the examples where we've drawn on mariners' feedback is the port approach guides, and these make entry and exit into port far simpler and easier, and they're very complementary to either paper or digital navigation.
At the heart of the information and supporting technology provided for the Royal Navy and the global shipping industry is the integrity of data, based on one key priority.
Safety. Delivering safety, delivering data in a timely format, working with other nations to make sure that we have the most up-to-date data available to enable a mariner to execute his tasks at sea safely and effectively.
As well as offering world-leading Admiralty maritime products and services, the UKHO works with partners to raise standards in hydrography, cartography and navigation. This includes supporting the shipping industry in its adoption of ECDIS.
We've got people here who are acknowledged experts in their field. We've been contributing directly to the development of digital standards, working with the International Hydrographic Organisation, working with other hydrographic offices, making sure that the new technology is available and fit for purpose. And in fact, working with industry as well, so going out, running training seminars, going out and making sure that shipping companies understand the implications of the new technology and what benefits it can bring to them in terms of operational efficiency and safety and all of those sorts of things.
We need to remain adaptable, we need to remain agile to make sure that as technology moves forward, the needs of the mariner, both today and into the future, are met by this organisation.
Times may have changed, but there's still a number of problems facing ships' masters on the high seas today. Extreme weather, piracy, safety of life and cargo, and on-time operational performance all require clear, experienced advice and intelligence. Paul Brennan reports now from Portsmouth, where the Dryad operations team is ever vigilant.
The shipping industry operates in an uncertain environment, with the weather, geopolitical unrest and piracy just some of the very real threats. As a former naval officer who served in Iraq, Graham Gibbon-Brookes has first-hand knowledge of the many challenges facing mariners and their cargo.
While I was still in the Navy, I was looking at the phenomenon of small boats versus warships, and out of interest I looked at the way that the merchant Navy were dealing with the piracy threat at the time, and it occurred to me that using armed security for point defence right at the last minute was all too late. There were a bunch of things that they could do beforehand that would mitigate the risk or maybe prevent it from even materialising.
And so Dryad Maritime was set up, a 24-hour, 365 days a year risk advisory service. With state-of-the-art technology, its head office in Portsmouth is a kind of air traffic control centre for shipping clients and mariners across the globe. Offering world-class risk analysis and maritime knowledge, it gives protection and advice through logistical, operational and safety intelligence.
So we've got a wide range of services going from everything from weather and efficiency support to get ships from A to B in the most efficient and cost-effective way, right through to risk services upon which we originally built the business. It's important for us to have the skills and experience to firstly deal with the macro level, to know what's going on in the world in a geopolitical sense, right through to the tactical level of what's happening on various transit routes, in ports and ashore.
Indeed, to truly appreciate risk, nothing compares to real-life experience, and almost all of Dryad's staff is ex-Navy. With more than 500 combined years of maritime experience between them, these people can truly empathise with the challenges facing masters and their crew.
Well, I was in the Royal Navy for 23 years, so I've worked in the environments that the sailors are working in today that we deal with, so I feel I have an affinity with the experiences that they go through.
I am the first port of call. Basically, I am the first person to contact the master prior to them entering the high-risk area. I email them, get lots of important information from the master, and it's quite important that we speak to them early so as they get that warm fuzzy feeling before they get into the HRA that someone is looking out for them.
I think most of them are aware that the guys they send have been there, seen and done it, and feel their pain when the sea is rough.
With 90% of the world's cargo transported by sea, the challenges are not just restricted to piracy.
Dryad has got a pivotal role in the future of support to our clients, and that can range anywhere from the changing landscape of regulation in the environmental sense right through to the changing risk map of the world. If you look at today's situation, we've got countries with civil wars, we've got migrants in humanitarian situations, and all of these things are the kind of things that can impact upon the ability of the maritime industry to trade and to get from A to B safely.
Being at sea is an extremely complex environment at the best of times. They've got to deal with freight rates and bunker rates. They have to deal with increasing amounts of regulatory pressure. But essentially our mission is to take their pain away. We can do that by removing some of the management challenge and saving them money, but also we offer them the opportunity to earn more money, say for instance in frontier markets such as Libya.
Although risk can never be totally avoided, Dryad has a firm hand on the tiller to help mariners steer a more stable and safer course through troubled waters, wherever in the world they may be.
Shipping is an efficient way of moving goods, but it's an industry that's under constant pressure to improve its operational and environmental efficiency. In a world first, Akzo Nobel's marine coatings brand International has developed a carbon credit scheme that incentivises and rewards ship owners for investing in sustainability. Let's take a look.
A Bali Area ferry plies its daily route in the Mediterranean. Its owners are at the forefront of the challenge facing all shipping today, improving sustainability while staying efficient, maintaining profits while staying compliant. 1,500 miles away on the banks of the Tyne in Newcastle, Akzo Nobel marine coatings brand International is at the forefront of the technology that's helping them meet that challenge. This long-established company has developed the shipping industry's first carbon credit scheme, giving owners an incentive to invest in sustainability wherever in the world their ships operate. The problem they're helping to solve is making sustainability more attractive and accessible to the wider shipping community by delivering bottom-line benefits through clean technology solutions such as Intersleek hull coatings. Most of the world's shipping industry still relies on the traditional methods of fouling control, but attitudes are changing.
The shipping industry is well known as a very conservative industry. They take time to adopt to new ideas, but I would say over the last few years that is actually changing. There's been a mindset where they realise they've actually got to contribute to the reduction in the worldwide carbon emissions. And we are seeing a change.
To qualify for carbon credits, owners and operators first convert their vessels from a biocidal anti-fouling coating to a biocide-free foul release solution, such as International's Intersleek range.
Foul release coatings use a physical method for releasing the fouling, so they're biocide-free, which means they have a positive impact on the environment and in terms of sustainability.
They found it works well with slime, otherwise known as biofilm, and that's where International is concentrating research. All its fouling control coatings are tested by hydrodynamicists at the University of Newcastle.
The effect of slime is critical, and slime itself is a very complex biological phenomena, and we need to understand, and also we need to work out how actually slime affects the performance of coating, and we should mitigate the development of the slime by identifying the methods. If you reduce the drag, then you will reduce the fuel consumption, and then you will reduce the greenhouse gas emission, carbon dioxide, then everybody will benefit.
Balearia has cut its fuel bill by 12% by using Intersleek. The company will generate carbon credits by having the fuel savings independently verified before and after the application of the Intersleek coating. The whole process is validated by the gold standard and accredited by the UN. The company can then reinvest revenue generated through carbon credits into its business or sell them for cash on the carbon markets.
Balearia are aware that with these good results we can participate together with International with a program of carbon credits, because the savings in consumption and savings in CO2 emissions are very, very interesting. And we have applied and we are working with these programs. The money that we receive will be used in Balearia company in the research, development and innovation department in order to improve our savings and our eco-efficiency.
The first carbon credits worth hundreds of thousands of dollars will soon be awarded. With the triple prize of cleaner seas, reduced costs and greater revenue, carbon credits are bringing the industry a step closer to a new era of sustainable thinking.
Well, that's all we have time for. We hope you've enjoyed A Maritime Nation. For more information and a chance to watch again, please visit ukchamberofshipping.com. From me and the rest of the team here, goodbye.